Microbiome is becoming a household word. I wrote a book that was published in 2014 about the microbiome, and it was the first book applying the microbiome to clinical problems, to medical problems. Obviously, it was ahead of its time, but it gave me the opportunity to really understand the importance of it and how powerful it is to be the number one treatment for any chronic disease. It's called microbiome first. For any chronic disease, you start with the microbiome to improve the microbiome. Why? Why? Because it's the organ in our body. It's not an organ, but it functions as an organ. It's an ecosystem of microbes, trillions, they outnumber our own cells, that's in us to heal. That's what their purpose is. You know, the heart pumps blood, the kidneys filters blood. Microbiome has one job: to help us get better, to restore health from disease back to health. That's its job. It can change cellular expression. It can change how the very biochemistry of cells. It could take a dysfunctional cells and turn it around and make it not just functional again, even improve its function from where it was before. It has the ability to restore health from the state of disease. That's what it does. That's what it does for a living. That's all it does, which is unbelievable. So why wouldn't we go to the microbiome for the number one treatment for healing? Now, people talk about, let's get to the root cause. That's passe. Let's get to this organ, the system in us that's designed to heal us. Why do we treat and heal at the root? We do that too, the root cause. But we use the system, the organ that we have in us to heal. And I mean deeply heal. What do I mean? It could change the way the genes are expressing itself. It could go right into the DNA and change the way it's expressing. In other words, DNA, it's like a keyboard, right? It could be played in different ways depending on the information being sent to the keyboard, and it could play different notes. You're in a state of disease, it's playing these notes, it's playing Mozart, but you want it to play jazz, right? Because jazz will heal the body with this type of health problem. So what do? It has the ability, the microbiome, to go into the genes and change the keyboard and to take the body from a state of the commands to of the body, the cells, from disease, inflammation, and turn it 180 degrees around. People talk about we have the body has the ability to heal, but is it expressing itself? That's why my motto is this: we harness the intelligence of nature. The microbiome is a supercomputer, which is another discussion. We harness that plus the power of technology to heal at the deepest level. So let's talk about the microbiome. There's not a single physiological process in the body that the microbiome isn't directly involved with, orchestrating it, and could change, take it from this direction of disease back this direction to healing and health. They've shown this, and we use this, certain probiotics for the skin that you could see pictures. The studies show it, from wrinkles to better skin. If it could do that here, it could do that in us. That's turning the clock back. That's what the microbiome could do. But it's not an abstract idea. It's using this to heal health problems, number one. It's a science in itself. It's called microbiome medicine. So someone has, let's say, for example, gastrointestinal disorders, diarrhea, constipation, discomfort. It's going on, bloating, big problem, huge problem. And they go from doctor to doctor, nothing. You know, conventional medicine, oh, you have IBS, you know. What do you do? Well, you can take this medicine. No, they're still not better. So then they shop around. They find functional medicine. Thank God they find that. But it's not uncommon that they don't help either. Why? Because you can't just say, I'm treating the microbiome by throwing in a probiotic. They're so different from each other. You know, it's a complex field of medicine because, you know, there's so many interacting variables. Certain probiotics are good for this problem, but they're not good for that problem. There's countless numbers of different types and strains. They're so different. What probiotics are best for you. What's best for you? What's best for gut issues? What's best for autoimmune issues? They're not the same. It's a science, and it's not just a science, it's an intuitive knowledge too, which I always talk about. And that comes from experience and a certain way of thinking. Einstein said that greater than his intellect is his intuition. In this field of microbiome medicine, it plays the biggest role because they're interacting together, and the number of variables is just countless. So you have to have an intuitive understanding, and that's not anything you could be taught in medical school or in any conference, whether you call it grand rounds or whether you call it a functional medicine lecture. Anyway, so we have gut disease, bloating. Which probiotics are going to use? What type? What combination? How, use the synergy idea, and then also, postbiotics. People are underestimating its power. Postbiotics are the compounds that the microbiome produces that does the healing. The state of the microbiome does as well, but these are called postbiotics. They're compounds of healing. It's like a natural pharmaceutical company. It's constantly pumping them out. So what we want is to know which postbiotics compounds that could heal bloating, that can heal irritable bowel, that can heal dysbiosis. We have in our hands the best way to treat dysbiosis, leaky gut, all of these terms that people use, but there's an underlying commonality between all of them. SIBO, dysbiosis, in the end, the microbiome needs work, needs help. And now you can decide which ones are best. You give the right prebiotics. People underestimate prebiotics. That's the foods, the fibers that feed the microbiome. Now, each species of bacteria, they need different fibers. Some like ice cream, some like potato chips, right? Depending on what postbiotic you want, what compound you want to heal this disease, you give this the type of fiber that group of bacteria will flourish, and then they produce the postbiotics. It's an algorithm. And pharmaceutical companies can never do this because it doesn't think like this. It's using the right prebiotics with a strategy. This is how I help people. And I can tell you, it makes all the difference. It's mind-boggling. And, all you need to know about is the system that heals us. If we heal and improve the microbiome, it's going to heal us. That's all that it does. You need to have the experience, the intuitive understanding of how bacteria work together, and knowledge, of course, and science, which is beginning to grow. And you put it all together and you think ecologically, you think how it all interconnects. That's how you could overcome gastrointestinal disorders. Finally, your bloating could go away. There are people coming to my office all the time. They feel like they're 6 months pregnant, and they've gone to so many doctors, and they're so frustrated. It's they all they think about is their bloating. They feel like they look so fat, and I understand. I really can resonate with them, especially because there's a solution. That's microbiome medicine. Any gut issue that you have, go to the microbiome first, a system in us designed to heal us.